video we're going to show you people how to change the brake fluid on a motorcycle, and also after you've done that, bleed the brakes. This is quite an important thing to do as brake fluid is a liquid that is hygroscopic. That means it will suck the moisture out of the air and get inside the brakes. And when you've got water mixed with the brake fluid, that's when you get a problem with the fluid actually boiling on a lot of heavy applications, say at a track day or something. It's something that the average person can do with a few simple tools. I'll show you those tools now if you like. Okay, there's a few simple tools we need to actually do this job. We need a couple of Phillips screwdrivers, a short one and a long one, an 8mm spanner, and to get the fluid out of the reservoir we need just a normal syringe with a piece of plastic tube on the end of it. Now what happens here is we use that to get the fluid out of the reservoir, top it up with new fluid, and then we need to bleed the brakes at the caliper just here. Okay, before you start, we don't really want brake fluid getting on any painted surfaces or anywhere on a motorcycle because it does quite a bit of damage. So I always wrap a rag around the whole lot, especially the tank area, to make sure that if there's any spillage, you've got time to get it off before it affects the paint. Okay, the first thing is we need to get this fluid out of this master cylinder. So what we do, it's best to have this in an upright position. So we undo that, lift that up, so that's then more horizontal. We now undo the cap, this can be a little bit tricky, this last one. You might have to manoeuvre the bike slightly, taking care not to scratch the screen. Now, sometimes these screws I'm taking out here can, because they're a countersunk screw. What I mean by a countersunk screw is they've got that angle just there, like a wedge shape. And when someone over tightens those screws, they're really hard to get out of a master cylinder. And over the years I've seen that happen. So it's always good to use a good quality screwdriver on those. Now we've got the screws off, we remove this first cap. Then there's a plastic cap. And the last thing is the rubber dust seal. You've got to be careful as you move that. If you flick this, you will get fluid everywhere. Put my hand under there like that. Move that down there. Now we've got the cylinder ready to get the fluid out. Okay, now using this, we just suck the fluid out. People will probably say, why are we changing the fluid on a bike? Well, there's a couple of reasons. The first reason is brake fluid is called hygroscopic, which means it actually absorbs moisture out of the air. So you end up with, even though the system's sealed, you can get some minute particles of water inside the system, and that makes it boil a lot easier. So if you go into a track day and you're pretty heavy on the brakes at a racetrack, you'll find that you might have a bit of brake fade. The second reason is brake fluid just gets old, and it's just good to change it. It keeps the seals and everything inside the parts of the brake system nice and fresh. Okay, as you see, it's a little hard to see in there, but I've got pretty well all the brake fluid out of that master cylinder. The next thing I need to do is put the fresh brake fluid in there. Okay. Now I try and get that level. I always put something over the fluid because when you bleed the brakes, you'll get little dolps of brake fluid will push up here, and that's when it splashes. Now we're ready to bleed the brakes. That's the bleeded nipple just there. They have a rubber dust cap on them. To bleed the brakes we have to remove the cap just like that. The next step is we need to attach a piece of plastic hose onto the bleeded nipple, as so. And that goes into some sort of receptacle. I've got a little one-man bleeder bottle here, which you can buy pretty cheap, made in Taiwan. Perfect. A little magnet attached to the disc, so it's nice and easy, there's no mess. You can run that into a jar or whatever. All we're doing is getting rid of the brake fluid in the lines from the master cylinder into something else.